हाय फ्रेंड्स, गुड इवनिंग। आज हम आप सभी को क्लास 8 की बुक गोल्डन लिप्स का चैप्टर थर्ड फिश ऑन द वॉल का समरी बताएंगे। चलिए दोस्तों, समरी हम स्टार्ट करते हैं। वन इवनिंग द राइटर एंड हिज फ्रेंड्स were discussing an interesting topic, events events that could be explained by natural causes. Explained by natural causes at a friend Devne place. One of the strangers there who had said nothing until then asked to relate a similar experience that he may have had. He produced he proceeded he proceeded to narrate a strange experience which had concluded only that same day. He told them that only a year or two earlier he was in a rented house in Great Ormond Street. The walls in the bedroom had damp patches patches which changed their shapes and size, except one which looked except one which looked which looked exactly like a face, exactly like a face. This particular patch, this particular patch began to take a hold of the stranger, to take a hold of the stranger, and he started to feel as if it were it were his roommate. This feeling became even stronger when he was housebound. He was housebound due to influenza. He soon began to search for the face everywhere. Everywhere he went so much so that people began to look at him with suspicion looked at him with suspicion. Finally one day he saw the man in a taxi going towards carrying Charing Cross station in London. The stranger followed him and saw him board a train with a large group of people on their way to France. The stranger had just enough money for a one way trip on the ship that the man had already boarded. But he decided to take the risk and followed his men followed his man who by now the stranger had figured the stranger had figured was a rich man was a rich man. The stranger waited for an opportune time and and spoke to the man as he came out of his cabin with a little girl. The stranger asked for the man's card and rushed to a quiet corner of the ship to read it and to his utter shock he discovered the man's name to be Armand Wall from the USA. The stranger passed out and found himself in a hospital in Bolgon and to stay had to stay there for some weeks. He then went back and tried to find out about the man who turned to be a millionaire to be a millionaire with English parents who had lived in London, but no one knew where. But no one knew where. Only the previous morning, only the previous morning, the stranger saw that the face had become very faint, and on reading the newspaper, he discovered that Armand Wall had met with an accident in Italy, and was critical. The stranger went back to his room and even as he looked, the face on the wall disappeared completely. That event coincided that event coincided with the time of Armand Wall's death. The stranger, the stranger then told the people in the room that there were three extraordinary things. Three extraordinary things about his story. One, that a patch on a wall, that a patch on a wall in London should have such should have such a should have such a striking resemblance not only to a not only to a person's face but also his life but also his life. Two, that the person's name that the person's name should also be similar to the name of the place where the strange event took place. On being asked what the third thing was, he replied that the story was completely made up only half an hour back. Half an hour back. Thank you.